Okay, we're back. This will be the last time I'm doing my midbeast cosplay for a while. I'm just doing one more game of Keeson doing Twitch Jungle. As we all know from the last video, he is currently 7% win rate in preseason at 500 LP Master. And for this game, I decided one that is going to be a bit tougher. Because other games I've watched, he has been having a lot of success. So we did those games to kind of find his patterns and what he does for success. And this game, we are going to be seeing a bit of a tougher game here. As for the runes and everything, I will leave that in the description below in a picture. A link that you can click, or in the comment section. It really depends. But before anything here, I just want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas and a belated Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. Hope you guys will have a banger of a fucking year. And yeah, that's about it. For what I have to say for the IRL stuff, please comment below. Tell me how you guys are doing, shit like that. It's been a while since I've been uploading consistently. I'm going to be trying for a while now before I get back to work. So yeah. As for the game, as we see before, he doesn't really stack or ask for that at all. They don't even invade him. The composition he's playing against is really tough, actually. He's playing against Kindred Jungle, which I find to be one of the tougher matchups for Twitch. One, because she's really strong for invading him, and two, she really does counter him when it comes to the ultimate. So you don't really get those sick opportunities they can get against other champions, because Kindred can just completely nullify your ultimate by just ulting herself, and then that kind of just counters you completely. And Diana's a very hard champion to deal with. Engage. Right. Kind of fucks Twitch over. As well as Trinidad with Ghost can just run you down. There's not really much you can do there either. So all of that has to be unfortunate. Bot lane is fine. As far as I've seen so far, Sari's actually pretty good. So I consider her to be pretty good here. Sack's obviously good too. A champion I love to have on my team when I'm playing Twitch, as he has a lot of peel and also has engage. Karma's obviously great too, especially against Trinidad with a root and slow, as well as movement speed and shield. So she brings a lot of good utility. But overall, depending on how the lanes go, it can either be very bad for Twitch or very good. Because if Akali gets a lead, then that's obviously going to be very nice for Twitch too. Not having to deal with that much with Diana. And if Akali loses and Diana gets fed, then that's going to be very unfortunate. And same for top lane. Right? Speaking about the game here. Twitch went for the blue. And then he didn't really directly go for the bot lane gank. That is fine. I didn't really pay attention to the state. But we have the map so you guys can watch too. What happened there. Yeah, decent start so far. Got a couple of kills. Actually, 2. So he's kind of set right now. In terms of like farming. Or needing... Or getting the early amount of gold that he needs to succeed. Obviously, he goes crit every single game. So he's going to be getting his Noon Quiver most likely. So we'll be seeing him farming to 1300 gold here. Before he goes for his recall. Because that is a really big bonus to Twitch. Getting the Noon Quiver early game. By helping with his clear. Loses the Scuttle. But also gets Kindred Flash, which is nice. He also loses the Scuttle, so that is obviously a bit unfortunate. We'll probably be seeing a lot of the same stuff that we saw at the other games, where he just continuously tries to gank early game. And he does seem to do not that much farming early game now. It's more just gank focused. And that was obviously very unfortunate. I think that was greedy. I don't think he should have done that. I think one of the things that you should really be cautious of when you're playing high elo is just not wasting your flash. I feel the higher you get, the more you should be cautious of using your flash like randomly. Because it is like such an important spell to have. And saving it for the right moment is going to be a very important thing. So the fact that he wasted his flash there for a kill, I don't really think was worth, especially considering he had 2 kills already. He could have just gone back to farming. And now that is going to be putting mid lane behind as well. I definitely think that was a mistake, but obviously would have worked out if he got the kill, then it would have been fine. But again, I don't think that was a good thing to do. So going for those risky plays when you have a lot of gold isn't really good. Like you just want to recall, spend your money, potentially farm, or just get back on the map with the money that you spend. Because like a general rule, when you have more than 1k gold, you kind of want to recall and spend it. Because if you die with that 1k gold and the fight is really close, then that's obviously something you don't want, right? So you don't want to like force fights or anything when you have low money in your pocket. You just want to kind of get that recall first, regardless of the outcome. Unless it's like a really important objective or something. But then again, all objectives have timers. So there really isn't any excuse for you not being able to recall before the dragon. Like say 40 seconds ahead or something. Unless you are really close to a power spike and you're pushing the limit of like recalling at 20 seconds, 15 seconds. And then hoping that your team or the enemy team will not go for that objective during that time. And with bot lane being so far ahead already, I mean, I don't want to say far ahead, but Jin's 1-3, Sari's 1-1-3. You can see Sari has 2.9k gold, Jin has 2.1. Karm is slightly behind on Senna, but that is fine. So what I would have liked to see now is a full clear top lane with a recall or something potentially, and then going for that Drake and just securing that really early. I think that would have been like a good game plan here. I actually don't mind the recall here. It's really nice. Even though red buff is up, spawning again and then getting to the red buff after is fine. Because if you recall with the red buff, you're kind of just wasting the time with it. So if you plan on being on the map for a while, and as you saw, he had like close to 1k gold again. He bought the pickaxe, and now he's getting the red, so then he can stay on the map for the entire duration of the red without having to recall or think about recalling, right? Even though, generally speaking, you want to get the big buffs and cooldown ASAP so they spawn faster again. For the sake of money and for having most activity on the map with buffs. Also don't mind him clearing the smaller buffs before he does the red. Because the faster you clear those, the faster they respawn again. And obviously the red buff has longer spawn timer than the smaller ones, so in this sense it is actually quite good. Which is also another reason why people in this season here might even start something like Wolves or Raptors, because if you kill the Wolves or Raptor first, you'll get level 6 faster, as opposed to if you clear red or blue buff first. So that is something I know Malice spoke about. He said you can start Raptors or Wolves, and then the reason for that is because the camps will spawn faster, as opposed to starting red or blue. And then you'll be able to reach your level 6 faster. It's like a very minor thing, but obviously over a longer period of time it's going to make a difference. But it is not really something you can do on Twitch. Because Twitch really does rely on that red buff. But if you're playing someone else like Evelyn or Diana, Mordecai, so like any of those champions, you can do it. It is fine. Although Mordecai's clear speed has kind of been gutted now. He's still a decent jungler because of how strong he is, but his clear speed is not the same as before. Yeah, like all of these like fast clearing junglers, they can obviously start like someone else, as long as they don't rely too much on blue buff to clear the camps fast. Then that is all good. And again, I would have liked to see dragons killed earlier here. Because now you can kind of like see the bot lane lead is starting to fall again. So having done our objective, it would have put a lot less pressure on the bot lane. As well as kind of just giving you a bit more breathing room. In terms of layer in the game. So even though it's really slow to take the dragon or you lose some time, it really just the breathing room you get from taking it really does make up for it. Especially on like scaling champions like Twitch, where you're not that strong early game, but you turn out stronger later. Then just investing that time, or like wasting that time early game to secure the dragon and getting some breathing room is just overall going to make out to be worth it. And as you can see, Kindred obviously does quite a lot of damage to Twitch here, even though they do have the same amount of items. And Kindred actually running Conqueror here, which is something I see a lot of Kindreds do now. They're not really running PTA anymore. And I think both options are fine. Although PTA is obviously still going to give you some additional damage early game, especially. And I think the reason why Kindred is quite good now is because of the amount of tanks being played. And that is also the reason why they're running Conqueror as opposed to PTA. But I think PTA would have been fine there playing against someone like Akali, Twitch, Seri, Karma, right? Like, Zac is like the only big threat of not being killed very fast. But then again, you're playing Kindred and your E and W and everything does quite a lot of mixed damage. So here again, you can see the punishment being made towards Twitch for having that unfortunate early game on Diana, right? Like wasting the flash, giving her a shutdown. Even though Akali's fed too, Diana's also very much in the game. So if you were to like look back at this game here, at the mistakes being made so far, I would definitely say the waste of flash on Diana and the shutdown being given for literally free. That's been one of the big mistakes. And then the second mistake I would say is kind of not capitalizing on the gain of the bot lane and just securing that Drake early. Other than that, I don't think his playstyle's been too bad this game here. We still saw the hard focus on ganking early game, not that much attention to farming. And that does seem to be a trend with this game here now, right, in preseason. Champions like Elise, which is not really like a farming-oriented champion, is very good at the moment, apparently. And she has a very similar playstyle to how he's playing right now, where you just focus on ganking and just do minor amounts of farming. Here we see the first example of how ultimate is really bad for Twitch. Obviously, it didn't have that big of an outcome there because it was only Kindred being threatened to be killed. But imagine an entire team is in there and you're trying to kill them and then they all just get ulted. Then your entire advantage is gone. Kindred is dead. Can't really see Diana maps. He trained them here. Okay, Diana spot lane. He's going for the Drake. I think they'll be able to get this one. So this is a good idea. As I said, I would like to see the Drake killed earlier. Potentially this would have been the second Drake they're killing then, and that would have been even better. Especially if this next dragon would be something like Hextech or... what is the second one called? The annoying one. The one that got removed. I don't remember. Maybe it's Wand. Oh no, it's Hextech, right? I think so. So obviously the small advantage that you get through the dragon is also a big thing, especially when you're scaling into the game, because the percentages got buffed, so with more items they're going to have more value. So again, you don't really benefit that much from early game. The fact that you don't have to like think about them or anything at all, as well as getting that additional breathing room for the later stages of the game. And then you amplify the effect of the scaling from the Drakes layer into the game. It just really adds up on champions like Twitch. The W is really nice here. I said this before. When you're going into territories and you're dealing with champions that can invade you, or you have no vision or haven't had any vision of the one side of the jungle you're in, then throwing the W into bushes randomly to see if you find someone there is worth it and always a good idea. So whenever you're walking from mid lane to, say, your red jungle or blue jungle. Just throw the W into the first bush that you see. And then act a bit cautious towards the next ones when you approach those two. But everything considered, I wouldn't say he's been playing too bad here. It's been good still. Just a bit of an unfortunate early game. But you still see, as I said, the patterns of the previous games he's played where he just farms or pays a lot of attention on the early game ganks. And lingers a lot in lanes. Because before I would say you would wait like just a few seconds maximum and then just go back to farming. But also with the camps being a bit tankier, I suppose that also adds to the value of just waiting a bit more. Like I find myself now when I was trying to kind of copy his playstyle in a few games that I would linger in lanes now, even with some camps up. And just linger those additional like 10-15 seconds and just wait. Like it really does pay off sometimes. Now we see Trindam and top lane pushing. And Herald got spawned as well. Doesn't have a ward. This play would have been a lot easier if he had a ward for that bush there. But the fact that he's kind of forced into these like bad positions now because he don't have the ultimate to... or the vision to do anything special. Makes this very unfortunate. But Kindra's doing a good job here. Popped Herald bot lane, right? You saw that she shadowed Diana. She didn't really show in the lane at all. She was kind of just waiting in the shadows and like staying behind Diana. And then when Twitch tried to get around, then you kind of saw Kindred coming up behind. And that's a very good thing to do. Especially on champions like Twitch too, where you can literally just stand in stealth. And then you can like linger even closer without the enemy knowing. And the second they engage on the person that you are shadowing, you just open up and then hopefully kill them all, right? Bada boom, bada bish, bada bish, bada boom. Easy peasy. I'm not sure who would have won that fight if Kindred did an ultimate, though. I actually think Kindred would have won against Twitch there. So I don't think she should have ulted, actually. But that's just because Twitch had his E up, and in a 1v1 scenario, then I think it's a bit easier. But in most cases, Kindred is still going to come out on top because she has her Q. So she'll do like auto Q and potentially like have her E ready as well. So she'll like pre-stack the E with like 2 auto attacks and then just wait for the timer to run out, do the Q and then proc it. And then you just die because it executes, right? So maybe if I look at this Kindred, she's not going to have too many games. People do tend to sometimes pick Kindred into Twitch, even though they can't really play her. So there's a champion to expect or needed to have some knowledge about how to play against. Now we get the second Drake. This is all really good, by the way. This is like insane. The game's actually not going too bad. All things considered. Two Drakes is obviously huge. And one thing I'm not sure about though, like LDR has been buffed tremendously now. The amount of damage it does against tanks is insane. And then Bork being kind of like this tank killer item, it really does add so much value against tanks. It's like if you're playing against any kind of tank champion, be it Sion, Wukong, even if he's not a tank, he's a bruiser, but he's kind of like this Tabai HP stacking AD bruiser, right? So it's gonna really benefit against him, like going Bork with LDR. But I've been wanting to experiment, not that I play so much crit, but I've been wanting to experiment just going pure crit. So like say you go Kraken into PD or something, you get some additional attack speed, you still get the moon speed that you get from Bork, just not in the same manner. But you get the crit, attack speed, and moon speed, regardless. And then that allows you to go into like the IE like third or LDR third, and then just having that crit. Because I think crit is really good against squishies. And I don't think Bork is as good. It is obviously still going to be really good with free hit passive, right? Against so many of these champions. But I'm not actually sure what I think is best in these kind of scenarios. Because they're not really that tanky. Like Diana sure has some HP items. But she's not building any armor. She's getting Hourglass now, which can be considered armor. So like LDR would obviously have some value. And Bork isn't to be underestimated either with lifesteal. It's really good. But again, I do think like PD or like that full crit playstyle is actually kind of making a bit more of a comeback. And I would see myself interested in trying that a bit more. Because you can see Kindred going for here, right? Goes Collector and then into IE third, I think. Yeah, there you see the ultimate just completely cooking Twitch. It's just so bad sometimes. Like that, there was no chance. And you have to walk up into the face too. I mean, not that I don't do that. I just walk up into the face regardless if I'm playing crit or 90 attack or whatever. Like, you kind of just forced into this awkward position. But like, imagine that scenario there with like any other champion than Kindred. You would have just blasted them. And potentially at least. Kraken, Bork. If it wasn't like his third item, I think it would be better. And I see he's going for some crit item now. I'm not sure if he's going for Hurricane or not. I don't really think that's a good idea. So maybe like PD. But even then, I just think the AD is like so valuable. Which is why like, if you want to do something, you can... Or like try something, you can do like PD Bloodthirster. But it's obviously a very expensive item. But like you still get the damage benefit. While also getting the sustain. You lose some attack speed, I think, or maybe not, because, yeah, Blade gives 25%. So you should have the same amount. But I don't think, like, the build is, like, that bad here. It's obviously still good against Kindred with the free passive to be able to, like, get out of range or move. So, like, again, Bork isn't to be underestimated here at all. Bork is a very solid item still. I just, again, think the crit playstyle could have been interesting too. Just going for crit. And, like, again, you can kind of see the pressure that Diana puts out here, right? Just engaging in hourglassing and you can't do anything. And you're kind of just forced to, like, get out. And the only way to get out is by flashing. You can't walk out of the range of it. So speaking of that, maybe like Gale Force would have been good here. I mean, obviously Kraken is a really solid item too. But Gale Force again is like kind of bad. But I think it could have actually been like a decent buy here. But it's such a bad item. It feels so bad to buy Gale Force because it's so like bad. But I think like optimally speaking, Gale Force would have been good here. Ignoring like the downside of not having Kraken attack speed, the additional AD, the one-hit true damage, right? But just having that freedom against these kind of champions and still having that execute would also be nice, yeah. But just that dash away from Tryndamere, Diana, Jhin even, or Senna. I think could have been good. But again, I don't think those are the reasons as to why it's losing. Because obviously it's the entire team's not really performing here. And again, the champions are just completely counter Twitch. It's like you can't really expect Twitch to 1v9 this game here because it is literally impossible. Or almost impossible, right? Like his jungle's being denied now, they have full access there. Karma's not able to ward. They have these engaged champions that can just like get on Twitch and just screw him over completely. No vision from Karma. So it's just like a really, really unplayable game here. If Stack was a bit stronger, I think it would have been better. But again, like, all these champions being so obnoxious just makes it very hard. And even though he has so many, like, damage items, I mean, he has walking back and you'd say so many, but, like, still, it's a lot. It's 2 items. And he barely touches center. But she has Locket and Taba, I guess. But yeah. All in all, we definitely see some things that could have been improved upon here. But it's obviously just an unfortunate game overall. But at the end of the day, like, these small things can really do make a difference. But also, he did recover really well, I think, this game here. So this makes a really interesting game to watch, I think. Anyway, I hope you guys continue to have good morning, evening, night, whichever one fits shit like that. This has been a Wackaflcka mid-beast cosplay. And yeah, take care. Peace. Bye.